So once everything is dry, you can rub off the masking fluid. You can roll it just with your fingers like this. Occasionally, if you get this a bit sticky, for whatever reason, you can put a soft rubber across it like this. Gets it off. Yeah, use your finger. It just rolls off. So here we go, all coming away nicely. Before it dried, I put the darker patches on the beach just with some quick flicks to create the little sandy gatherings or seaweed, whatever you want it to be. It provides a nice focus as well by sort of big lumps going smaller, getting thinner, creates perspective. So that's all come away. We're now ready for the next stage. You'll need to soften some of these edges, and I do it with a couple of brushes. I've got a sable brush, which is like a flat, which is what I used earlier. It's nice and springy, but I've also got a nice hog brush. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wet the edge of this sun here with my sable, and then I'm going to use my hog brush, because it's a bit stronger, just soften that edge in. And the same down here where I've got the reflections. Just wet the edges and cleaning the brush, because it might pick up a tiny bit of colour. Just wet the edges and then go over those edges with this firmer brush, and it just breaks that hard line down and creates a softer, more natural edge. So it just fuses the colours back together. Some areas you want a harder contrast. And now I'm going to just put in, with the same brush, some little touches. So it's slightly damp there. I'm just going to put some little darker patches into this reflection. Again, if you look at the source photograph, you can see little sparkly edges. So do that. And I can do the same down on the sand. And plus, I want to produce some... I want to bring a little bit more colour into the sun. I've actually got some hard edges also coming out from it here. Just soften those slightly. So I'm just going to go back into my original yellow, and I'm just going to bring that sun in with some, because I've got that little damp patch where I've just cleaned the colour or softened it. This colour will just melt in and produce a slightly more subtle sun. And plus I want to give a slightly orangey edge to what's happening down the beach here. So again, because I've softened it, I can bring my little orange touches over the edge here. Just break that colour down a bit so it's not quite so stark. We want white, but we don't want it white everywhere. So I'm just using a damp brush to soften what I've just done. And then the rest of the painting is dry, so if you need to add anything else, let's go back to my source photograph. Here, you've got a child, you've got a dog, so just a couple of touches. Let's use my Chinese brush again. And it's just painting in silhouette. So we've got at the water's edge, we've got a little child here. Let's get a stronger colour, a bit more blue, a bit more English red. You can also add a bit of burnt umber if you want to get that colour a little bit more in silhouette. So here we go. I haven't got much paint on the brush, just enough to paint head, shoulders. You can draw this first if you like. And it helps to think, when you're painting a figure, the position of the head is the key thing to make it look like they're in the right place. So I'm looking at my source. I'm higher than this figure. My eye level is the horizon. This child is obviously not as tall as me, so they're going down here. But I could change that perspective if I wanted to create a different effect. I could, for example, have the child higher up and it would make me look smaller. So a little silhouette there, and because you've got wet beach beneath this child, I'm going to put a little bit of reflection down beneath him in the wet sand. Plus we need dogs, quite obviously. I don't think a painting can call itself a painting without enough dogs. I've made a slight fish of the head here, so I'm just I've just gone a bit too far on the head, so I'm just lifting it back with my damp sable. And I'm going to put a dog in here, and again, just using this light area. Actually, I'll go with a slightly smaller brush here, just because it's requires a bit more detail. So same silhouette colour. So cobalt blue. You could use ultramarine if you prefer.
Excuse me.
Well, John, if you go just to one side there, so I'm going to get this dog just enough liquid in the paint. So I just start with the body of the dog. A bit more liquid. It's almost too small a brush, this. Tail in the air. Want more orange? I can put more orange in if you like. Yeah, I can put more orange in. But what I was going to do is do something to the sky, because what I thought would be fun would be to show you how you can correct a wash that's gone slightly awry. So there's our little dog. And again, reflection from the same. Just to create a nice sort of perspective. So with the wash brush, we could now, if you've got any blips in your sky, you can use my hake, or this is just a big sumi, you can redamp the sky. If any areas are not quite perfect, this is the chance where you can, now it's damp, I can just go back with my sable brush and soften these edges. But also I can apply another wash. So I've been requested to apply more orange. So I'll make my orange slightly... Yeah, I agree, actually. So let's put some more orange right through. There we go. There we go.
That's it.
And I'll tip it a bit so we don't get it trickling too much. And I'm adding a little bit of my pink to that orange as well in a few places. There's a sort of pinky element, so let's just turn the colour up a bit.
Not too much, Chris, not too much.
It will fade, don't worry. So we put it on.
No, but that lifts it, that really lifts it.
And now with my clean brush, I'll just squeeze it out. I can just go back and take out any puddling just before it drips.
Good.
So it just merges in. But that is totally safe to apply a second wash to get the correct depth of colour. Don't be tempted to do this prematurely, because if you do, before it dries, because if you do, what happens is it will go patchy on you. So I can put in more colour here too. I could make the blues darker. And again, it's just got a dry edge there, so I'm just going to squeeze the brush so it's just damp. And just gives a bit more interest.
Good.
Happy? So I could even put more orange on the beach in the same way, just down here. This time I'm going to use it with a little bit of, put it on dry, because it gives a little bit of sparkle. Just picks the colour up. So you can do these final things. If everything else is dried, you can go back quite safely and add more. Not so white over here, it's too white. You want the white in the middle. So again, just a very delicate pinky oranges. Pinks and oranges. Just for these sort of corally colours in the sand. There we go. A little bit more down in the middle. That's probably enough.